I'm going to go ahead and work in purple to spare us the confusion with the other example on the screen. Example 4, cube root. Here I go. I'm going to start by breaking up every little thing into its own separate category. My cube root of negative is a -1 times the cube root of 24 times the cube root of x to the 9. Now, here's my recommendation for these. If you want to do the simplest way, you take this number 9 and divide by this number 3. And if it works out perfectly with no decimals, then you're good. 9 divided by 3 is actually 3, which means the cube root of x to the 9th is x to the 3. So that's the fast way to do this. That's the fast way to do this. I'm going to show you the other, like the slower method in a second. But that's if it works, if it's perfect. Okay, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and solve this one. Cube root. This is where it gets tricky. So you know how before when we were like, hey, with a perfect square, right? Like we had a perfect square, like in a 25. We know what that is because it's intuitive. Let's say we had like the square root of 80, right? And it's like, hey, break this apart. Well, we've been breaking this apart as the square root of 16 times the square root of 5 because 16 times 5 is 80. And then that's perfect. I have a 4 here, and then I have a square root of 5 left over here. Square root of 16 is 4. But I just made this problem up. So how do we do this? Well, we have 2 times 2 times 2, which is equal to 8. We have 3 times 3 times 3, which is equal to 27. You can see how quickly these numbers like spiral out of control. So more than likely, you're going to end up being able to take out a 2 cubed or a 3 cubed in some version. So that's how you're going to divide this apart. So on this first one right here, the cube root of -1, remember our rules for odd. If it's an odd power, it means it evaluates to -1. So -1 is done. And this x3rd is done. Now I'm going to break this thing apart. My cube root of 24, I'm going to break apart into 8. 8 times 3. And I'm breaking it apart because 8 has a perfect cube root. It's very weird. It's hard to get this right. You can't get this. You can't do this without actually putting effort into it. So -1 stays. I'm going to take out, let's see, the cube root of 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. So I'm going to take out a 2 from here. Can I take a cube root of 3? No. So I'm stuck with the cube root of 3. And then my x3rd is already evaluated. So that's what we have there. -1 times 2 times this times this. Yeah. Okay. Can I put this all together? Am I done? Yep, I am. So now let's multiply these together. I have my house. So I'm going to put that there. That's everything inside the house. I have a variable on the outside of the house. And then -1 times 2 is -2. And that's how we simplify it. This is difficult.